So, how do you see the Savitri project evolving? What do you see as the vision for it?
Savitri has to be done in a number of ways. Savitri is, of course, the word for spiritual growth, for spiritual transformation of an individual. At the same time, it is a word for the collective growth, collective transformation, collective change. With that basic perception of Savitri, one could say that it can be implemented in several ways, in different ways, for the individual to grow inwardly, to grow spiritually, because constantly you not only get the help, but you also get the necessary realization through Savitri. So that is as far as the individual is concerned. But when you are projecting now Savitri for the collective work, for the collective growth, it becomes to some extent, in a certain manner, institutional, and you have to work out a kind of institutional framework to get things of Savitri implemented. There, one could think of various subsections of activity, and each activity has its own important role, and all these activities can be integrated into a wholesome community life, community ideal to build up a community to live in the dimensions of Savitri. For instance, one of the things which one could do, rather which one should do, is the academic aspect of Savitri. And for that purpose, we have to have a full-fledged academic infrastructure to handle the themes of Savitri. Savitri is a literary creation, and the literary aspect of Savitri has its own value, its own significance, its own importance, and it must be promoted from the point of view of literary activity. It is true that perhaps it will percolate into the subsystems of an individual, his aesthetic taste, his aesthetic appreciation, his understanding of the nature of beauty, of life, of truth, of love. All those aspects will come through those developments in the case of an individual. So I would say that first thing is we must have lectures, discussions, conferences, seminars covering various themes of Savitri. Savitri itself, on the secular level, is encyclopedic. The knowledge of Savitri is encyclopedic. It has all the Greek literature in it. It has European literature in it. It has, of course, the Indian literature in a very major sense there. It has references and allusions to the English poetry aplenty everywhere. And the richness of Savitri has to be really explored in all those dimensions, you see. For instance, suddenly you will find towards the end of the very first section of the Simple Dawn, towards the end of the section, it was the common life of the earthly day. The divine goddess was trying to come down and bring about a change here. The divine message came down and did something, but then it found that the things here were not ready for her appearance in this creation, and therefore the divine message withdrew, the divine apparatus spent, withdrew. That is what the line says there. Now, the moment the divine apparatus withdraws, what happens here is a common routine things, the earthly mortal life in its routine cyclic manner going on continuously. Now this, so it was as if the common life which has on which things had fallen. And this is exactly the reference to a poem by Wordsworth. Wordsworth, in his intimations of immortality, he visits his old places, he is reminded of his old places, but then they were not there, the charm was not there, that appreciation was not there. He felt kind of disappointment in the whole thing, and what he saw was a common day. So the reference of that kind of a thing in Savitri is there everywhere, even in terms of the modern poetry. We have got references to Keats, of course romantic, the modern poetry of Yeats, of Eliot. There are allusions of that kind even in Savitri like that. So these aspects of literary referencing are important in Savitri. And of course there is plenty of Greek, plenty of Latin, plenty of Italian, plenty of French, and plenty of Sanskrit, Kalidasian, Upanishadic, Vedic. All those things are there in Savitri throughout. Now, these need to be explored for two reasons. Two reasons in the sense that it is not reference for the sake of reference. It is not reference for the sake of reference that we have those allusions in Savitri, but the way in which these have been presented to us bring a newer light to things which were there in the original literature. In other words, Savitri is throwing on those writings of the ancient time another light, and we have a different vision now to look at the Greek literature, to look at the Indian literature, to look at the European poetry, particularly the English poetry. So these things are possible by really entering into the full spirit of Savitri. So from an academic point of view, I would definitely like to encourage that kind of approach to be developed in Savitri Foundation. I don't know how far it will happen, how far it will be implemented or it will be worked out, but that is one of the visions, might say, which we have in our mind, you see. Basically, the academic aspect is enriching from many angles. How the language is built up, how the vocabulary changes, how the connotations bring out different significances. For instance, till yesterday, till before Shabando, rather I will say even till before Savitri, there was not really any real deep spiritual connotation to the words in the English language. It is that which has come out now through Savitri. It has become a word. So a new vocabulary has developed, a new dictionary has got formed in the whole process. So these need to be really looked into and studied, and if possible extended, metrically scheme also.
So, what did, in your understanding of this matter, what did Sri Aurobindo have in mind for the development of Savitri of this nature, or Mother have in mind for the development of Savitri?
No, I don't think they have anything like that in mind. not from that sense in mind. It is
How
a
did they see
it
that?
is a direct action which will manifest itself in every aspect of life, of mental creation, of life expression, of work, of human
So they
activities.
will wait for the instruments to
We
come
instrument
up.
had to grow into that. The
Correct.
force, the power has been put into that, and it is now for us to extract that thing, so to say, and live with it, depending upon the inclinations, the build-up of each individual.
How do you make, from someone who is new to this, Savitri, it's a pretty weighty tome. How do you make it more accessible? I mean, there are lots of treatises, there are
Yeah.
lots of expositions,
Yeah,
but still, I don't think it is a popular topic or subject.
it cannot be
Even
popular.
for someone who is well versed in English,
Yeah.
it is probably inaccessible. You need to have background in very good English, very good poetry, very good philosophy, very good art and spiritual development,
Absolutely,
even to start appreciating it.
absolutely, that is very true. But you are therefore trying to say that there is a big gap between what we are and the level at which Savitri is standing, and how a kind of a communication between the two is possible. Is that the question?
Yes, or if you take anecdotes from other such things, for example, if you take the Vedas and the Upanishads, they are probably not that popular in the general consciousness of
Yeah,
humans everywhere. Very few select people probably follow
yeah.
them. Even if you look at high art
Mm.
like Homer or Dante or something like that, very few people probably follow it. But both of those have somehow become popular through other mechanisms, through stories derived from them or surrounding them, Purana,
Yeah,
Bhagavata,
yeah, yeah,
singing,
yeah,
and other play acts, dramas,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
So, would you think that Savitri would also be drawn out into some other popular expositions?
Well, I will say it cannot but be that way. It has to be that way. Essentially, what you are saying is Savitri is daunting to the common man at the moment. He has no access to his vocabulary, to his thought content, to his perceptions of poetic knowledge and things of that kind. It is very true. And I will say that as far as that aspect is concerned, a certain minimum preparation is required on the part of the individual to approach Savitri. It is like saying it is a work in English. So unless you know English, how can you really read Savitri? That is very true. So in other words, you have to have some sort of a preparation for approaching Savitri. Even same thing for the Vedas also. You have to know Sanskrit if you really want to get into the true perception of the contents of those rigs. You see, that is very important also. You see, so basically, you need a minimum degree of preparation to approach any of these words. So what you are saying is, did it happen, say, in the case of the Divine Comedy of Dante? Did it happen in the case of Milton's Paradise Lost? Did it happen in the case of Shakespeare's dramas? Well, I mean, in a certain sense, it did happen. At the same time, we can also say that it created its own audience. It created its own audience, and eventually, then it percolated into this social mass. Eventually, it percolated into the social mass. It has to start in that way only. You see, even in the case of Ramayana, we think that Ramayana is a very simple poem, but the original Ramayana is not really that simple. It is very, very deep, very profound, and if you want to get into the spirit of Ramayana, original Ramayana, Valmiki's Ramayana, you have to have a certain minimum background, certain preparation. That is important. It has been popularized in the course of centuries through traditions and all
Correct.
that. Yeah. So that kind of a thing will also happen in the case of Savitri, definitely. But then that would mean a certain degree of dilution, a certain degree of even misrepresentation of the original spirit of Savitri.
But
That-
you are building a step or a bridge
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
you know,
For
making it accessible.
those who can jump on that,
Yes.
those who can jump on that, yeah.
The other aspect is, um, I mean, I don't know if you can just study Savitri of a piece of its own, because it is in the continuum of Life Divine, Synthesis of Yoga, Upanishad, various other writings,
Yeah,
even the other poems that
Yeah.
he has written.
yeah.
So, why focus only on
Savitri.
Savitri? And I mean, why focus is one part, and the other part is, even if you just focus on Savitri, you still have to bring in
Mm.
these other
Mm.
materials.
Mm.
So, what is your
Well, you see, if you ask me tangentially that question, I will say that what Shivananda has done, in a way you are speaking, in the case of Life Divine, he has put his mind in Life Divine. If you ask what he has done in the case of scriptural writings, or the Vedas, Upanishads, the Gita and all that, I will say he has put his spiritual mind in them. If you ask what he has done in the case of the synthesis of yoga, he has put his yogic will in it. In the case of Savitri, what he has done is he has put his full soul and spirit in it. The completeness of his spirit and soul, that is what you see in Savitri. So in that sense, we can't really compare Life Divine with Savitri or Synthesis of Yoga with Savitri or other writings of his with Savitri, because it's the very soul of his which has come there in Savitri, you see. In that sense, you might say that the other books, other writings of his are, so to say, the limbs of his personality. Whereas here is the bright sunlight of his soul which is shining here all the while. So when you are entering into Savitri, you are really living under the sunlight of Savitri's soul, you see. And see, for instance, take an example, Life Divine. When he is writing the book or those essays, of course, writing means they straight away came down. He was sort of downloading them, you see. The whole thing was simply rushing down. It was just a question of downloading, you see. Now, he had taken a certain position in Life Divine, a deliberate stand to present certain thing for a certain type of an audience. Therefore, all that is there in the Life Divine is oriented, restricted, directed in that manner, in that direction. See. In other words, he had put a certain limit on himself to present Life Divine. Whereas in Savitri, he has full freedom. Full freedom. He is entirely of his own. He is not writing it in that sense for anybody else. He is writing it for himself.
So he made many versions of Savitri
Yeah.
and rewrote it over and over again. Suppose he had another 10 years, 50 years to continue to work on Savitri, what would it have become?
No, you mean to say that Savitri is not a complete opus of his?
It is of his as he left it,
Huh?
but 2 years before, if he had left it, it would have been a complete opus of his as of 2 years before.
Yes.
10 years before, it would have been a complete opus as of 10 years before. So 10 years since or subsequently, or 20, 30, 50, 100, 1,000 years
Yeah.
subsequently, what
Yeah.
would Savitri be?
What would have been Savitri been? Yeah. Well, we can get some idea about that particular aspect from the way the Savitri theme itself developed in the course of 2 or 3 decades of his writings. See, the very first draft of Savitri was prepared, the proper draft, so to say, was prepared by him, was written by him during the Arya period, when the flood of prose was there constantly going on for months and months, for years like that, you see. Between 1916 to 1918, roughly for about 2.5 years, he made the first draft of Savitri. And that draft has already in it the yogic and the occult aspects present, what we see later on also. There's no doubt about that thing. But then, that is not what one would call Savitri still. Then, during the 1930s, there was a long gap in between when he practically didn't touch Savitri. During the 1930s, particularly the later half of the 30s, when he started writing Savitri from a different level. And at that point, he also said that I have been writing and rewriting Savitri to reach the highest possible of expression, which is visible in the language here. So he was sort of climbing up during the 30s.
But what you said is expression,
Yeah.
not the
Knowledge.
experience or knowledge
No,
itself.
no, expression, that was
Yes.
expression, not knowledge. Basically it is that. Now, the question of knowledge also comes to some extent later. When his yogic realizations, the siddhis which he had attained during the 1940s particularly, they were totally of a different kind than what we had earlier. So what we had during the 1940s is the complete record of yoga of his in Savitri. Now that record of yoga is record. So had he written again Savitri after 30 years, it would have been another record, another record, another record like that. In other words, the realizations which are there, they would have got incorporated into the records continuously.
So would you say something like the Mother's Agenda is
Yeah.
a continuation
Yeah.
of the Savitri
Yes.
experience?
Yes. In a different language.
Yeah, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. 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 Definitely. Definitely.
So we have a record of, let's say, the various Rigveda rigs.
yeah.
They are from many authors, many
Yeah.
poets, many
Yeah.
rishis,
Yeah.
over many years, decades, centuries, who knows
Yeah.
how long.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there a development there of both knowledge and expression?
No, in the case of the Rishi, you see, it's very difficult to say that way. In the sense that you see, even if you take a particular Rishi, Amareva, the entire fourth mandala is devoted to Amareva. But then that will hardly amount to the totality of his spiritual expression.
Hmm.
That will hardly amount. So we don't know how much has got left out
Right.
in the passage of time. What has been left by himself away from other people. We don't know that thing at all, you see. So what has come out is the quintessential aspect of his realization in the rigs, there you see. Now, I think there must have been a lot of filtering through the ages. And then what has come out to us is a
Some
certain
formalized
type of,
presentation.
certain type of product, you see.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Whereas in Savitri, he has written himself.
yeah.
So that is in essence proven like that. You see. That apart, see, in fact, there is a difficulty also. When you are talking of the Veda, as an example, today it is a secret to us, and Shivan has revealed the secret of the Veda to us. And he says ultimately, still the secret remains a secret. After all that thing, revelation, explanation, he says, still then the secret remains a secret. Now, still during those days when the rishis were chanting or reciting or exchanging their notes, so to say, how did they understand each other's rigs? Were they secrets to them? The composition of one rishi, was it a secret to the other rishi? It was not. Because what has come out in the form of an expression is a small part of it. But by tradition, by communication, by assuming that there have been exchanges and interactions among themselves,
Yes.
people have understood. When the disciple is told, he is simply told finally this one, and he has understood it. But by the process through which
Yes.
it went to him, that we don't know. You see.
Yeah, I can see that. If you look at this Jnandev Abhanga,
Yeah.
they're very compact,
Yeah.
but they have obviously come about through an extended discourse amongst colleagues and other people at that time,
Yeah.
and also through extended exposition to the lay persons
Yeah.
who gathered. And at
Yeah.
the end, he has summarized it in a few lines.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it
That's
has
right.
developed over
Yeah.
many years.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
example, there's that phrase, Sabhayabhyantari avagha vyapaka murari.
Mm.
It's a compact formula.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
Now, yeah. Now that is a part of traditional inheritance. Indian psychology, Indian psyche, immediately understand that thing.
yeah, the key is there.
It understands immediately. You see, there is no secret of that now for the
Yeah.
Indian mind. You see,
Yeah.
for the Indian soul, because it has percolated through the centuries like that. You see.
Yeah. So in the case of Savitri, then to make it either on the one hand more accessible, it has to be, you have to build some bridges, and we talked about that. And on the other hand, are there some compact formulas that emerge from it?
No, I will not put it that way. See, it is. I will not take it in that sense. See, basically, Savitri is here, the sun of beauty, knowledge, love, whatever you want to call it. The full sun is there, Savitri. Now, each individual has to find out for himself in what way he can recreatively live under the sunlight of that Savitri.
Yes.
If an artist, if I am a sculptor, if I am a musician, in what way I can get from Savitri for my own expression and growth.
Right. But the traditional synthesis created by Indian, scholarship, society, priesthood, whatever you want to call them,
Yeah.
how will it work on Savitri? For example, if you
It will
think,
percolate, as I told you earlier.
But
In the course of time, as Ramayana happened,
yes, but okay, so that is one aspect which we
Yeah.
already said. There is a
Yeah.
popularization, building of bridges
it
to
will happen
Savitri.
automatically.
That is one part of it.
Yeah.
The other part of it
Yeah.
is the extraction of the essence into compactness, compact formulas.
Yeah.
How do you see that developing, if at all?
Now, combat, see, you see, it's like saying that there is Savitri. There are passages on Savitri. Gupta has done paintings on the basis of that. That is how you will creatively live Savitri in another way. Based on Savitri, there is Suhesi.
Let me ask the question more directly.
Yeah.
If you were to summarize for someone Savitri in less than, just to take a number, 60 seconds, what would you say? This is like a television interview question, but it could be 60, it could be 90 seconds. What I'm saying is, what is the... So let me give you an example and you can react to it.
Okay.
Savitri is a... it's hard.
Yes.
But it tells of how death is conquered to open out new possibilities for evolution, of new faculties, of new principles into an evolving stream of development on earth.
You see, the basic approach of Savitri is that there is something inherently antagonistic in this creation. Inherently antagonistic. Now, it is that antagonism in this creation which has to be removed so that the powers of the spirit can express themselves freely in this creation.
Okay.
That is the essence of the whole thing, we'll say. Now, so what is Savitri doing? She is first removing that antagonism.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe we can end with that.